And howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Word 117. Today we are going to be reading along in Lamentations chapter 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then, if you don't have an Apocrypha, you need to hop over to the King James Bible online.org, 1611 Bible, and scroll down that first menu you get to, that front page, and find the letter of Jeremiah, because that's going to be our 5th chapter today. It's one chapter long. So, a mixture of Otto and I both reading. So let's go ahead and pray in, and then we can get to the study. Hello, Father. Thank you very much for this opportunity to come and learn your word, the knowledge that you have left for us to seek you out and to help us find you and to help us understand your way that you have for us. And we're very grateful for that. We want to thank you for those who are thawing out and for those who were able to get food delivered to them so that this situation didn't turn much worse. And just remind us that we have to prepare for the unexpected, whatever it may be. And thank you for that. And we ask for your spirit of knowledge and understanding upon this reading today, and that those who get that will share whatever revelations they have. And we thank you for that. We love you. In Jesus, Yeshua's name, amen. Okay, let's jump right into this, shall we? And let's find out. Hang on a second here. There we go.
Lamentations 2. How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger? The Lord hath swallowed up all the habitations of Jacob, and hath not pitied. He hath thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He hath brought them down to the ground. He hath polluted the kingdom and the princes thereof. He hath cut off in his fierce anger all the horn of Israel. He hath drawn back his right hand from before the enemy, and he burned against Jacob like a flaming fire, which devoureth round about. He hath bent his bow like an enemy. He stood with his right hand as an adversary, and slew all that were pleasant to the eye in the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion. He poured out his fury like fire. The Lord was as an enemy. He hath swallowed up Israel. He hath swallowed up all her palaces. He hath destroyed his strongholds, and hath increased in the daughter of Judah mourning and lamentation. And he hath violently taken away his tabernacle as if it were of a garden. He hath destroyed his places of the assembly. The Lord hath caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion, and hath despised in the indignation of his anger the king and the priest. The Lord hath cast off his altar. He hath abhorred his sanctuary. He hath given up into the hand of the enemy the walls of her palaces. They have made a noise in the house of the Lord, as in the day of a solemn feast. The Lord hath purposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He hath stretched out a line. He hath not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore he made the rampart and the wall to lament. They languished together. Her gates are sunk into the ground. He hath destroyed and broken her bars. Her king and her princes are among the Gentiles. The law is no more. Her prophets also find no vision from the Lord. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit upon the ground and keep silence. They have cast up dust upon their heads. They have girded themselves with sackcloth. The virgins of Jerusalem hang down their heads to the ground. Mine eyes do fail with tears. My bowels are troubled. My liver is poured upon the earth. For the destruction of the daughter of my people, because the children and the sucklings swoon in the streets of the city. They say to their mothers, where is corn and wine? When they swooned, as the wounded in the streets of the city, when their soul was poured out into their mother's bosom. What thing shall I take to witness for thee? What thing shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For thy breach is great like the sea. Who can heal thee? Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thine iniquity, to turn away thy captivity, but have seen for thee false burdens and causes of banishment. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we looked for. We have found, we have seen it. The Lord hath done that which he had devised. He hath fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old. He hath thrown down and hath not pitied, and he hath caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. He hath set up the horn of thine adversaries. Their heart cried unto the Lord, O wall of the daughter of Zion, let tears run down like a river day and night. Give thyself no rest. Let not the apple of thine eye cease. Arise, cry out in the night. In the beginning of the watches pour out thine heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift up thy hands toward him for the life of thy young children, that faint for hunger in the top of every street. Behold, O Lord, and consider to whom thou hast done this. Shall the women eat their fruit, and children of a span long? Shall the priest and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? The young and the old lie on the ground in the streets. My virgins and my young men are fallen by the sword. Thou hast slain them in the day of thine anger. Thou hast killed and not pitied. Thou hast called as in a solemn day my terrors round about, so that in the day of the Lord's anger none escaped nor remained. Those that I have swaddled and brought up hath mine enemy consumed. Lamentations 3. I am the man that hath seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He hath led me and brought me into darkness, but not into light. Surely against me is he turned. He turneth his hand against me all the day. My flesh and my skin hath he made old. He hath broken my bones. He hath builded against me, and compassed me with gall and travail. He hath set me in dark places as they that be dead of old. He hath hedged me about, that I cannot get out. He hath made my chain heavy. Also when I cry and shout, he shutteth out my prayer. He hath enclosed my ways with hewn stone. He hath made my paths crooked. He was unto me as a bear lying in wait, and as a lion in secret places. He hath turned aside my ways, and pulled me in pieces. He hath made me desolate. He hath bent his bow, and set me as a mark for the arrow. He hath caused the arrows of his quiver to enter into my reins. I was a derision to all my people, and their song all the day. He hath filled me with bitterness. He hath made me drunken with wormwood. He hath also broken my teeth with gravel stones. He hath covered me with ashes. And thou hast removed my soul far off from peace. I forgat prosperity, and I said, my strength and my hope is perished from the Lord. Remembering mine affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the gall, my soul hath them still in remembrance, and is humbled in me. This I recall to my mind, therefore have I hope. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, saith my soul, therefore will I hope in him. The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him. It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. He sitteth alone, and keepeth silence, because he hath borne it upon him. He putteth his mouth in the dust. If so be, there may be hope. He giveth his cheek to him that smiteth him. He is filled full with reproach. For the Lord will not cast off forever. But though he cause grief, yet will he have compassion according to the multitude of his mercies. For he doth not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men, to crush under his feet all the prisoners of the earth, to turn aside the right of a man before the face of the Most High, to subvert a man in his cause, the Lord approveth not. Who is he that saith, and it cometh to pass, when the Lord commandeth it not? Out of the mouth of the Most High proceedeth not evil and good. Wherefore doth a living man complain, a man for the punishment of his sins? Let us search and try our ways, and turn again to the Lord. Let us lift up our heart with our hands unto God in the heavens. We have transgressed, and have rebelled. Thou hast not pardoned. Thou hast covered with anger, and persecuted us. Thou hast slain. Thou hast not pitied. Thou hast covered thyself with a cloud, that our prayer should not pass through. Thou hast made us as the offscouring and refuse in the midst of the people. All our enemies have opened their mouths against us. Fear and a snare is come upon us. Desolation and destruction. Mine eye runneth down with rivers of water for the destruction of the daughter of my people. Mine eye trickleth down, and ceaseth not without any intermission, till the Lord look down and behold from heaven. Mine eye affecteth mine heart because of all the daughters of my city. Mine enemies chased me sore like a bird without cause. They have cut off my life in the dungeon, and cast the stone upon me. Waters flowed over my head. Then I said, I am cut off. I called upon thy name, O Lord, out of the low dungeon. Thou hast heard my voice. Hide not thine ear at my breathing, at my cry. Thou drewest near in the day that I called upon thee. Thou saidst, Fear not. O Lord, thou hast pleaded the causes of my soul. Thou hast redeemed my life. O Lord, thou hast seen my wrong. Judge thou my cause. Thou hast seen all their vengeance and all their imaginations against me. Thou hast heard their reproach, O Lord, and all their imaginations against me. The lips of those that rose up against me, and their device against me all the day. Behold, their sitting down and their rising up. I am their music. Render unto them a recompense, O Lord, according to the work of their hands. Give them sorrow of heart, thy curse unto them. Persecute and destroy them in anger from under the heavens of the Lord. Lamentations 4. How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold. How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter? Even the sea monsters draw out the breast. They give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel, like the ostriches in the wilderness. The tongue of the sucking child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst. The young children ask bread, and no man breaketh it unto them. They that did feed delicately are desolate in the streets. They that were brought up in scarlet embrace dunghills. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom, that was overthrown as in a moment, and no hands stayed on her. Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It is become like a stick. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. The hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. The Lord hath accomplished his fury. He hath poured out his fierce anger, and hath kindled a fire in Zion, and it hath devoured the foundations thereof. The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the adversary and the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem. For the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests that have shed the blood of the just in the midst of her, they have wandered as blind men in the streets. They have polluted themselves with blood, so that men could not touch their garments. They cried unto them, Depart ye, it is unclean, depart, depart, touch not. When they fled away and wandered, they said among the heathen, They shall no more sojourn there. The anger of the Lord hath divided them. He will no more regard them. They respected not the persons of the priests. They favored not the elders. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching we have watched for a nation that could not save us. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord, was taken in their pits, of whom we said, Under his shadow we shall live among the heathen. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt bake thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. Lamentations 5. Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider, and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. We have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. Servants have ruled over us. There is none that doth deliver us out of their hand. We gat our bread with the peril of our lives because of the sword of the wilderness. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. They ravished the women in Zion and the maids in the cities of Judah. Princes are hanged up by their hand. The faces of elders were not honored. They took the young men to grind, and the children fell under the wood. The elders have ceased from the gate, the young men from their music. The joy of our heart is ceased. Our dance is turned into mourning. The crown is fallen from our head. Woe unto us that we have sinned. For this our heart is faint. For these things our eyes are dim. Because of the mountain of Zion, which is desolate, the foxes walk upon it. Thou, O Lord, remainest forever, thy throne from generation to generation. Wherefore dost thou forget us forever, and forsake us so long time? Turn thou us unto thee, O Lord, and we shall be turned. Renew our days as of old. But thou hast utterly rejected us. Thou art very wroth against us.
The letter of Jeremiah. Excuse me. A copy of an epistle which Jeremy sent unto them which were to be led captives into Babylon by the king of the Babylonians, to certify them, as it was commanded him of God. Because of the sins which ye have committed before God, ye shall be led away captives into Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Babylonians. So when ye be come unto Babylon, ye shall remain there many years, and for a long season, namely 7 generations. And after that I will bring you away peaceably from thence. Now shall ye see in Babylon gods of silver, and of gold, and of wood, borne upon shoulders, which cause the nations to fear. Beware, therefore, that ye in no wise be like to strangers, neither be ye of them. And when ye see the multitude before them and behind them, worshiping them, but say ye in your hearts, O Lord, we must worship thee. For mine angel is with you, and I myself caring for your souls. As for their tongue, it is polished by the workman, and they themselves are gilded and laid over with silver. Yet are they but false, and cannot speak. And taking gold, as it were, for a virgin that loveth to go gay, they make crowns for the heads of their gods. Sometimes also the priests convey from their gods gold and silver, and bestow it upon themselves. Yea, they will give thereof to the common harlots, and deck them as men with garments, being gods of silver and gods of gold and wood. Verse 12. Yet cannot these gods save themselves from rust and moth, though they be covered with purple raiment? They wipe their faces because of the dust of the temple, when there is much upon them. And he cannot put to death one that offendeth him, holdeth a scepter, as though he were a judge of the country. He hath also in his right hand a dagger and an axe, but cannot deliver himself from war and thieves, whereby they are known not to be gods. Therefore fear them not. For like as a vessel that a man useth is nothing worth when it is broken, even so it is with their gods. When they be set up in the temple, their eyes be full of dust, though through the feet of them that come in. And as the doors are made sure on every side upon him that offendeth the king, as being committed to suffer death, even so the priests make fast their temples with doors, with locks and bars, lest their gods be spoiled with robbers. They light them candles, yea, more than for themselves, whereof they cannot see one. They are as the beams of the temple, yet they say their hearts are not upon by things creeping out of the earth, and when they eat them and their clothes, they feel it not. Their faces are blacked through the smoke that cometh out of the temple. Upon their bodies and heads sit bats, swallows, birds, and the cats also. By this ye may know that they are no gods, therefore fear them not. Notwithstanding, the gold that is about them to make them beautiful, except they wipe off the rust, they will not shine. For neither when they were molten did they feel it. The things wherein there is no breath are bought for a most high price. They are borne upon shoulders, having no feet whereby they declare unto men that they be nothing worth. They also that serve them are ashamed, for if they fall to the ground at any time, they cannot rise up again of themselves. Neither, if one set them upright, can they move of themselves. Neither, if they be bowed down, can they make themselves straight. But they set gifts before them as unto dead men. As for things that are sacrificed unto them, their priests sell and abuse. In like manner their wives lay up part thereof in salt. But unto the poor and impotent they give nothing of it. Menstruous women and women in childbed eat their sacrifices. By these things you may know that they are no gods. Fear them not. For how can they be called gods? Because women set meat before the gods of silver, gold, and wood. 31. And the priests sit in their temples, having their clothes rent, and their heads and beards shaven, and nothing upon their heads. They roar and cry before their gods, as men do at the feast when one is dead. The priests also take off their garments and clothe their wives and children. Whether it be evil that one doeth unto them, or good, they are not able to recompense it. They can neither set up a king, nor put him down. In like manner, they can neither give riches nor money. Though a man make a vow unto them, and keep it not, they will not require it. They can save no man from death, neither deliver the weak from the mighty. They cannot restore a blind man to his sight, nor help any man in his distress. They can show no mercy to the widow, nor do good to the fatherless. Their gods of wood, and which are overlaid with gold and silver, are like stones that be hewn out of the mountain. That they that worship them shall be confounded. How should a man then think and say that they are gods, even when the Chaldeans themselves dishonor them? Who, if they shall see one dumb that cannot speak, they bring him and entreat Bel that he may speak, as though he were able to understand. 42. Yet they cannot understand this themselves, and leave them, for they have no knowledge. The women also with cords about them, sitting in the ways, burn bran for perfume. But if any of them, drawn by some that passeth by, lie with him, she reproacheth her fellow, that she was not thought as worthy of herself, nor her cord broken. Whatsoever is done among them is false. How may it then be thought or said that they are gods? They are made of carpenters and goldsmiths. They can be nothing else than the workmen will have them to be. And they themselves that made them can never continue long. How should then the things that are made of them be gods? For they left lies and reproaches to them that come after. For when there cometh any war or plague upon them, the priests consult with themselves, where they may be hidden with them. How then cannot men perceive that they be no gods, which can neither save themselves from war, nor from plague? For seeing they be but of wood, and overlaid with silver and gold, it shall be known hereafter that they are false, and it shall manifestly appear to all nations and kings that they are no gods, but the works of men's hands, and that there is no work of God in them. Who then may not know that they are no gods? 53. For neither can they set up a king in the land, nor give rain unto men. Neither can they judge their own cause, nor redress a wrong, being unable. For they are as crows between heaven and earth. Whereupon, when fire falleth upon the house of gods of wood, or laid over with gold or silver, their priests will flee away and escape, but they themselves shall be burned asunder like beams. Moreover, they cannot withstand any king or enemies. How can it then be thought or said that they be gods? Neither are those gods of wood and laid over with silver or gold, able to escape either from thieves or robbers, whose gold and silver and garments wherewith they are clothed, they that are strong take and go away withal. Neither are they able to help themselves. Therefore, it is better to be a king that showeth his power, or else a profitable vessel in an house, which the owner shall have use of, than such false gods. Or to be a door in an house, to keep such things therein, than such false gods. Or a pillar of wood in a palace, than such false gods. For sun, moon, and stars, being bright and sent to do their offices, are obedient. In like manner, the lightning, when it breaketh forth, is easy to be seen. And after the same manner, the wind bloweth in every country. 62. And when God commandeth the clouds to go over the whole world, they do as they are bidden. And the fire sent from above to consume hills and wood doeth as it is commanded. But these are like unto them, neither in show nor power. Wherefore it is neither to be supposed nor said that they are gods, seeing they are able to judge. They are able neither to judge causes nor to do good unto men. Knowing, therefore, that they are no gods, fear them not. For they can neither curse nor bless kings, neither can they show signs in the heavens among the heathen, nor shine as the sun, nor give light as the moon. The breasts are better than they, for they can get under a cover. The beasts are better than they, for they can get under a cover and help themselves. It is then by no means manifest unto us that they are gods. Therefore, fear them not. For as a scarecrow in a garden of cucumbers keepeth nothing, so are their gods of wood, and laid over with silver and gold. And likewise their gods of wood, and laid over with silver and gold, are like to a white thorn in an orchard that every bird sitteth upon, as also to a dead body that is east into the dark. And you shall know them to be no gods by the bright purple that rotteth upon them, and they themselves afterwards shall be eaten, and shall be a reproach in the country. Better, therefore, is the just man that hath none idols, for he shall be far from reproach. Okay, let's see here. Let's do it like that. Let's go back to Lamentations 2. Okay. If you took lots of notes, put them down below in the comments, or you can follow along in the live chat. Those who are participating. Lamentations 2. So, verse 2, right? This pronouncement against Jacob. Jacob, hath polluted the kingdom and the princes thereof. Then I jump to 5. Now, the way this is worded, the Lord was as an enemy. Interesting, right? The Lord was as an enemy. And remember, this. Where is it? Maybe I'm looking at the wrong word, but it definitely reminded me of something in the New Testament here. Romans 5:10. For if, when we were enemies, we were reconciled to God by the death of his Son, much more, being reconciled, we shall be saved by his life, meaning his resurrected life. Thank you, Abba, and thank you, Yeshua. Now this in 9, verse 9, her gates are sunk into the ground. He hath destroyed and broken her bars. Her king and her princes are among the Gentiles. In this clause right here, the law is no more. The words is and more are added to the text. So that would technically read, her king and her princes among the Gentiles, the law know. Her prophets also find no vision from the Lord. I believe it's meaning more properly, they're not obedient to the law anymore. For 14, I wrote down false prophets, false causes. So in 14, it says, thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, meaning to Jacob, or in this case, Judah, the house of Judah. Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thine iniquity to turn away thy captivity. In other words, they're not preaching the fact that you're a sinner and you need to repent, right? But they have seen for thee false burdens and causes of banishment. In other words, the problem isn't your culture of sinning. The problem is these people over here or those people over there. Very much what false prophets are speaking today. Repent from sin, sin being transgression of God's law, and turn back to his way. Right? 22, I found this very interesting. Thou hast called in as in a solemn day my terrors round about, so that in the day of the Lord's anger none escaped nor remained. Those that I have swaddled and brought up hath mine enemy consumed. Raises us like babies. Okay, let's go to 3. Lamentations 3. This is a second witness, verse 8. Also, when I cry and shout, he shutteth out my prayer. Remember before when we read, he will not hear the prayers of the unrighteous, of them who are not walking in the way that he prescribes. This is another witness to that. Also, when I cry and shout, he shutteth out my prayer. I'm not listening to you. We need to walk in his way, not ours. They were so prosperous, but 17, and thou hast removed my soul far off from peace. I forgot prosperity. It's all about the prosperity. You all are going to buy me a new jet. It's not funny that it's the way they do it, though. I got a big jump, so if you got notes, put it down below. But I'm scrolling all the way down to 34. Starting 33. For he doth not afflict willingly nor grieve the children of men, to crush under his feet all the prisoners of the earth. That's a big giant rabbit hole right there. Prisoners of the earth. And I'm not going to go into it right now, but prisoners of the earth. Very interesting. Funny how even in the false dichotomy that the enemy sets up for us, we're still prisoners of the earth. No way to travel thousands of light years. You're stuck here, baby. Okay. 40, what I was just saying. Let us search and try our ways and turn again to the Lord. My way isn't cutting it. It's time for me to repent and turn back to his way, his law, his guidance. It was the law, the guidance, and the word. Yeshua, right? He's our example. Well, we don't have to follow that part of his example. And big jump again to 55. Remember, this is the Lamentations of Jeremiah. I called upon thy name, O Lord, out of the low dungeon. Remember, he was in the muck. Literally said the mire of the dungeon. They just threw him in there. And then when they pulled him out, they had to tie rags together to be able to string him out, pull him out. O Lord, thou hast pleaded the causes of my soul. Thou hast redeemed my life. Here we have a witness again of Messiah, of Yeshua, our Savior. Right there, Old Testament, redeemed. Okay. Let's go on to 4. Um, 1 to 5, it just is a restating of the prosperity is gone. The gold is dim. Fine gold is changed. Stones of the sanctuary poured out. The sons of Zion, they're now knocked down. They're eating their children. Big jump to 9. I just wrote down, the sword is more merciful. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger, for these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. Or did I fast? Or do you want to waste away? Or do you want to be translated immediately? Make it that way. Then down in verse 21, oh, I'm sorry, 16. Remember what Yeshua said. The anger of the Lord hath divided them. He will no more regard them. They respected not the persons of the priests. They favored not the elders. A house divided cannot stand. I came not to bring peace, but a sword. We have a first indicator of this, but it says, what divided them? The anger of the Lord. Excuse me. And then verse 21, now we make this jump to the daughter of Edom. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. You're going to be uncovered. I have very little notes for the next chapter, chapter 5. Lamentations chapter 5. All the way down to verse 10. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. It's a description of malnourishment right there. It's a horrible thing. I want to look this up in verse 18. It says, because of the mountain of Zion, which is desolate, the foxes walk upon it. And I had written down, the wildlife is encroaching, because it's encroaching all across the United States now into our cities. Okay. All right. Is the mountain the foxes? Shubal. Hebrew 7776. From the same as Hebrew 8168, a jackal, as a burrower. So a creature that sees fit to dig into a hill and live there. And 8168 means to hollow out. The palm, by extension, a handful. Handful of dirt. Okay, so that's all I have for that. I didn't take any notes for the letter of Jeremiah. But there were some interesting things in there, so let's take a look at it. Excuse me. Okay, so you notice the some of the spelling is a little bit different, like Nebuchadnezzar, right? So this is, right, we've seen Nebuchadnezzar, and then now Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Babylonians. Verse 3, you're going to remain captive for a long season, namely 7 generations. Now, doesn't it say 70 years? So isn't there, I don't believe there's a 10-year generation, is there? So let's look that up as well. Oh, you know what? I don't have the Strongs for that. If you got the Strongs, look that up for me, please. I don't have the Strongs for the letter of Jeremiah. And then we go into, starting at verse 4. Don't worship the gods of Babylon. Right? They're worthless. And then it lays out the case for their being nothing, their nothingness. They can't provide. They can't exist. They can't consist on what it is that these sacrifices are being made to them. The stuff that's given to them, the priests take it. And then it talks about the temple prostitutes, right? The vestal virgins and their children take the food that's offered to these gods. And in verse 17, for like as a vessel that a man useth is nothing worth when it is broken, even so it is with their gods. When they be set up in the temple, their eyes be full of dust through the feet of them that come in. Now, that reminded me of what did Yeshua tell the disciples? If they don't receive the gospel of the kingdom that you are preaching to them, when you leave that house or that town, whichever it is, knock the dust off your feet. Why? Because they've got other gods. That's what that dust is. They don't even want that contamination of their dust on their feet. And that's the way we should be too. Knock that dust off our feet, right? See people clean their hands of the dust. Yep, and then it goes on even more, right? They call them a god, but they got birds and bats and cats sitting up on their head, peeing and pooping on them. What kind of God is that? Don't fear them. Don't revere them, right? It's interesting. It goes into saying they can't stand themselves up. They can't straighten themselves out. They take of the sacrifices given to them, but they don't help the poor. They don't help the powerless, in verse 28. Because of menstruous women and women in childbed are eating the sacrifices given to these gods. In other words, unclean and weakened women are taking their food from them, taking the food from these gods. Would those women go into the temple of Yah or the tabernacle of Yah and take the sacrifices off the altar? They would have been properly, they would have been slain by the Levites, right? No, you do not approach. Yeah, they can't do good or evil. They can't give riches or money. If a man, now this got me thinking, verse 35, if you break a vow to one of these false gods, what is the punishment? Where have you or we or me, where have we been in our walk where we promise, oh, please, God, cure this hangover, and I promise I'll never drink again? What God were we praying to? Right? Or the person that gets almost caught in adultery, or a person that gets arrested for drugs, illegal drugs. Those promises that they are making. God, if you get me out of this, I'll go to mass every Sunday. I promise. And then there they are, sticking the needle in their arm or lighting up the crack pipe. I really should be at mass right now. I promised. What God were we making those vows to? Is it our Heavenly Father and He's just forgiving us? Or does it go back to, right? He's shutting out our prayer because we're in a fallen state? Or does it go to, depart from me, workers of iniquity? I never knew you. Okay. Yeah, their gods can't save you from death. They can't deliver the weak from the mighty. No mercy to the widow, good to the fatherless. It says it would be better if those pieces of wood were used for a building later on. It's just a scathing testimony against these false gods and the practices that go with them. They can't even judge for themselves. They have to be protected by men so that men don't steal them. Other men, that is. So, what's the message from the letter of Jeremiah? Stay away from false gods, holding a knife or a cup in their hand. And what did they change the cup for? Oh, a torch. That's right. They changed out her mighty cup for a torch. All right. We'll close it off with this from verse 73. Better, therefore, is the just man that hath none idols, for he shall be far from reproach. That was the letter of Jeremiah. Whoever didn't remind me. Okay. So, everybody, that's this study. Next, we are going to be going into Ezekiel, another contemporary for the captivity, for the coming captivity of Judah and those in Israel too. So we will check those out. After we're almost to the prophets from the captivity, and there's some very, very good information in there, especially from the Apocrypha, which is what we just read from with the letter of Jeremiah. There, if you were following along. But I had it on the screen, so hopefully you were. All right. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. We're doing this for free. This is all of us together. Right? You may get the revelation I don't get, and then someone else may get something else that we don't get. The more people we have partaking in edifying the temple, edifying the body of Yeshua, the better. So, right? We're not charging anybody to be here. And I hope you aren't either, because that's a hell of a curse. All right. I love you all. We'll see you very soon.